Have you ever skipped a card idea or a class because you didn't own the featured stamp set? Tonight, I want to prove that you don't need the exact supplies to make a beautiful card. I'm using the same layout, same cardstock, same DSP, same embellishments, but two totally different stamp sets, and the results couldn't feel more different. If you love the idea of crafting from your stash and using what you already have, you're in the right place. Hi and welcome. If we haven't met already, my name is Denise Cox. I'm the heart and hands behind Bird's Nest Designs, and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator. But more than that, I'm really passionate about helping you create with what you already have. So before we start stamping, let me explain what we're doing tonight. I've chosen one simple layout, and I'm going to create two cards using different stamp sets, but we're going to be using the same cardstock, the same DSP, the same circle die cut, and even the same embellishments. All we're going to change is the stamp set. And I'm doing that very intentionally because I want you to watch this thinking, okay, what would I use from my stash instead? Not what I don't have, but what I do. So as we work through these cards tonight, I'll talk through why certain stamp sets work, how to swap things easily, and how to give yourself permission to create anyway, even when your supplies look nothing like mine. So if you're here tonight live with me, say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to know who's here stamping with me. Good evening, Jennifer and Barb. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Glenda. Hi, Karen. Hello, everybody. Okay, so we are going to do a true craft from your stash tonight, creating on the fly, and we're going to have so much fun. So keep the comments coming, and I'm going to talk you through my theory on craft from your stash as we go through tonight. So I want to know your thoughts on this process and what you guys think about this, these cards we're going to create tonight. So let me turn the camera down. Where's the button? There we go. That did not work, did it? Okay. Somehow that didn't work. Let me just see if my camera turned itself off. We are having some very, very cold weather here tonight. And I'm wondering if my camera has just decided to go to sleep. Let's hope this works. Okay, crafting on the fly. Let me see. Let's try that one more time. Sorry, everybody. Okay, see, best intentions, right? Things always go. So this is the stuff we're going to be using tonight. These are our consumable supplies. You'll see I've got some of the gorgeous, lovely and beautiful designer series paper. I've got a Spotlight on Nature circle die cut. I've got this beautiful scallop that I cut out. This is from these gorgeous dies. Now, I don't know if they're still current. They were on last chance, and I don't know, honestly, if they're still available, but they're the Fancy Borders dies. If you don't have these, of course, anything will work. Maybe you have a scallop die. You could just cut a strip. It doesn't really matter. It's just to give it a little bit of color. But you'll see all the supplies are exactly the same for both cards. Now, here's the really, really fun part. So my original design with this in mind was to use the Feathered Fun stamp set. So this is from the annual catalog, and I love this one. So we're going to use this on card number 1. As I mentioned in the intro, I haven't made these cards yet. These are crafting on the fly. So we're going to wing it together, no pun intended, and we're going to make a really beautiful card using the Feathered Fun stamp set here. So that's card number 1. Now for card number 2, I went into my stash and I pulled out something completely different. And we're going to be using, for the second card, Share a Milkshake. So how many of you watching are familiar with this stamp set? It is an oldie but a goodie, and it's so, so cute. So we're going to use that now. As I mentioned, extremely different stamp sets, but I'm going to walk you through and show you how we can make the beautiful cards using both of these. Because what I don't want to happen is for somebody to see a class that somebody's offering and they have these beautiful cards and you're going to get all the consumables, but you don't have the bundle. And maybe you don't want to buy it. I don't want you to turn that class away because these, I'm going to show you, you can create something from your stash. So let's get going here. I'm going to put one off to the side, and we're going to start with the Feathered Fun card set. So I've got here a white card base. So we'll go ahead and we'll fold that. On Sunday, my blog post will be live. All the measurements will be there. So in the event that I forget to give you any here tonight, they will be on my blog post on Sunday. So you can visit createwithbirdsnest.ca and it'll be there. All right, so we've got our card base. Oh, so I've got some ink on there. We'll just flip that over. That can be the back. That's okay. I've got a piece of Petunia Pop two-tone cardstock. So there's the back and there's the front. Now I'll just grab the piece from the other card just to show you the difference. So that is just front and back of the same paper. It's beautiful. I love that we've added this to our supplies to get that different contrast. Okay, so we've got that piece, and that's going to be for the inside of the card. So I am going to decorate that and put it on the inside later. For now, we'll put that off to the side. I've got 3 strips of designer series paper here. They're each 1 inch wide, and let me bring my grid paper in. I can tell you how long they are. This card is so fun, you guys. It's a really, really pretty, easy layout. So this is 4 1/4. So you need 2 that are 4 1/4. And 1 that is 5 inches. So this is a really great way to use up some of those scraps too. So I don't think I need that grid paper quite yet. That's more going to be for the milkshake one. So I've got these pieces. I've got, like I mentioned before, the Spotlight on Nature circle die cut. Hi, Carol. I've got a little strip of white, and then I've got our little scallop out of Petunia Pop. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that longer designer series paper, and I am going to banner cut the end. Okay, so if you have this punch, then you can just use it like I am. Otherwise, you can cut it with your scissors. You can use another different punch, however you like to make it. Or maybe you don't want to put a banner on the end. Then don't. It's okay. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my adhesive here. And we are going to put these 3 strips of paper down the center, or down the front of the card. So let's just place them for now, see how we want to put them. Okay, as I mentioned, we're crafting on the fly, so I have not made this card ahead of time. I have made a card with the same layout years ago that I'll share with you guys later too. Okay, so I think that looks pretty cool. What do you guys think? I think that's a pretty good placement. So I'm going to take my heart. Look how beautiful that paper is with that gold. Okay, so we're just going to stick this piece down. Like here. And just try and make it so it's straight with the edge on over here on the hinge. And then we can go ahead and place this one. Lots of gold accents in this lovely and beautiful paper. Okay, so we're gonna go like this. Oops, there we go. Okay, and then we'll take our banner one. And we'll put that down here like that. Okay, isn't that a fun start to our card? So as I said, I see there's lots of comments coming in. Keep them coming. Let me know what you think of the video. Hit those thumbs up and the little hearts. Okay, so now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our little circle here and we're going to place that on our card about there. So let's put some adhesive on that. This can go right about there, I think. Okay, so these 2 pieces, now we're going to stamp a sentiment, and we're going to have our little scallopy border below it like that. So I pulled out a couple different stamp sets here today. This is the Fabulous Sayings. This is Stampin' Up's product of the month. If you aren't familiar with that, it's a brand new program they've started. When you spend $60 here in Canada, you can choose to add this onto your order. $100. You can choose to add this onto your order for just $5. So this is this month for February. But I'm going to use Just because for me, that is like that's the kind of cards I like to send. It's like just because to brighten somebody's day. So that would be really good on here. The other one I did pull out was the Valentine Kisses for Happy Valentine's Day. But I think we might leave that one for the next card. So we're going to grab this. Oh, I already did it. I already did it. That's why I couldn't find it. So we've got the Just Because here. And I have my silicone mat tucked away over here. Let's grab that. So let's go ahead and we're going to stamp on here our sentiment just because, and I think I'm going to actually stamp it in black or Fresh Freesia. Actually, you know what? I think we're going to tie in a little bit of Berry Burst into this card. So let's go with Berry Burst. I tend to like my sentiments in a darker color ink as opposed to a lighter color. I don't know why. It's just a preference. But usually that's what I gravitate to. So we're going to stamp Just Because on the end here. Okay, so it's a nice and simple sentiment. And then we're going to take our little scallop here and we're going to glue this on top so that it's just peeking out from behind our greeting, just like that. So what I think I'll do for that one is I will use this. I was going to use my white glue, but I changed my mind because if you guys were watching was it last week or the week before when I used my white glue and it just sort of decided to just keep on coming out. Okay, so there we have our Just Because. And then that is going to go on our card across the bottom of the circle, kind of like this. But I do need to grab my paper snips here because the purple is hanging out on the outside of the white and that will, I don't really care for that. So let's go ahead and just trim that off like that. Okay, so you guys watching, do any of you have these two stamp sets we're featuring tonight? Because if you don't, I want you to start thinking about ones that you would use instead. So let me grab a piece of white. I'm going to ink with black ink. So this is my Memento, my Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to ink up this beautiful pair of birds right here. This is my favorite stamp in that whole set. And of course, I love these birds. Okay, so there we have our little birdies. And then we're going to color them in. So as you can see up here, I've got a selection of blends. I did pull from the colors in the Designer Series paper, and then I added in some Berry Burst just for some contrast. So I've got Darling Duckling, Peach Pie, Petal Pink, although I only have dark because my light one is dried out and I'm waiting for the new one. I've got Old Olive, Petunia Pop, and Berry Burst. So we're going to use that to color our birds. So a combination of these colors. So let's start with Darling Duckling. And some of them I'm going to shade, some of them I'm not. But we'll go ahead and we'll color their beak. And I have never done these birds in this color arrangement. I've usually chosen much brighter, like lots of pinks and stuff in there. I'm seeing some comments. Glenda doesn't have either one. And Barb just ordered Stamp of the Month. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got their little beaks colored there with the light. And then I'm going to come in with my dark. Let me just double check. Dark. And I'm just going to color. You'll see there's little accents here. So if you don't have these stamps, like I said, leave me comments. Let me know as we go along which stamp you would use instead. Okay, so now let's think about these birds. And look at our card and look at our birds and let's decide what we're going to color. I love Berry Burst. So let's go ahead and add some fun accents maybe down here on their tail feathers. And okay, I just want to make sure I had light because it seems quite dark. So we're going to go like that. And I think we'll put some down here too. Like I said, I love this image. It's so adorable. And when it's colored, it's beautiful. So we'll do that. Maybe I'll color this part too. Okay, I'm gonna do them the same, I think, for this side, the pair of them. Maybe we'll change up some of it up at top, but for now we're gonna color this part. the same. Okay, and then we could go ahead and just give it a little bit of highlight. I'm not going to get carried away here. I'm just going to do a little bit just to give it some interest. So you, again, depending if you didn't have this designer series paper and you weren't part of a class and you just want to make this on your own, you could swap it out for anything. And it would work. Okay, so we've got that done. Now I think let's just go with, what is this one? This is fresh freesia. So let's tie in some of this fresh freesia down here. And I have no idea if you would find real life birds with these colors, but you know what? We're crafting, and in the crafting world, anything goes. We can have any colors we want, and that's one thing I absolutely love. Use your imagination and just have some fun. Pull in some of your favorites. Okay, so because we did that one, I also want to do these feathers here. Okay, oh my goodness, this is gonna turn out so cute. I can tell already. I'm getting very excited to see this all finished. Do you guys get like that? I get to the point where I'm like, I have the idea, and then as it starts to come together, it's almost like I get a little impatient because I just want to see it all finished and see how it all comes together. Maybe I'm alone, but that's how I get. I get so excited just to see the finished project. And I'm like, super excited to see how we put together the one with the milkshake stamps, because I tell you, can you think of two more different stamps? It's gonna be fun. Okay. Oh, let's add a little bit of color up here too. Now, if you are a super fussy colorer that loves to do all the beautiful shading and all the things, then I encourage you to do that if you have these birds. But otherwise, just have fun and just color them. That's all that matters. Okay, I do see right here, I want to just get their talons. I think that's what these are, but that's what we're going to have them be tonight anyway. Okay, now let's pull in a little bit of the oranges. So for the, as I mentioned, I don't have a light petal pink, but I'm going to use the light peach pie. And I'm going to color this. I'm just going to highlight. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to highlight this part of their cheek here. Okay, I'm just tracing around those lines, and then I'm going to pull in my petal pink, and I'm going to see how that just blends together. So it's darker than obviously the petal pink would be, but I think that looks really pretty. So that's the first time I actually tried those two colors together, but they work beautifully. So now I'm going to take my light peach pie. Again, this one seems quite dark. I had to make sure it was the light one. And I'm just going to color these feathers. I could have added a bit of old olive in here too, but I kind of like the purples and the oranges together. Kind of reminds me of the sunsets I see on my way to work in the mornings, because when I leave home it's dark and the sun is just coming up. It's beautiful. So one thing I love about being in the prairies is the sunset is like, you doesn't get any better than that. It's so beautiful. Okay, so. Oh, it would work with cute as a bug. You're right, Glenda. Okay, so now I'm going to take my dark peach pie and I'm going to add some accents here to darken it a bit more than the color on their face. Okay, so I just want to bring these apart so that's separate, like that. Okay, see how that contrast just differs because we added the dark in there? So the blends are my very favorite coloring tool. I love them. If you like the blender pens, I was playing with those again the other day. I haven't had those out in a long time, and they are super fun too. I made a beautiful card using the Unbridled Beauty, the new horse stamp, so that was fun. Okay, So there we have our birds. What do you guys think of those colors? Aren't they beautiful? So I'm going to go ahead and just bear with me while I fussy cut these because these ones don't have dies. So I'll just give it a quick fussy cut. And I know last week I was asking who likes to fussy cut, and I had lots of people with mixed reviews. Some love it, some hate it, and some will just do it because they have to. So I love that we're all different. But for me, I don't mind fussy cutting. So I'll just give these guys a cut. And it's so fun that these are like in the shape of a heart, these little birds. Oops, I got a little closer than I intended, but that's okay. And then we'll come down here, we'll cut around their feathers. I'm actually just gonna get rid of the big bulk of that paper so that I can just cut easily around the bottom of their feathers. Notice that I'm turning the paper, not my scissors. It gives it more control over where you're cutting instead of trying to move your scissors in and out and around the paper. Oops. Sometimes you do have to adjust your scissors like I just did there. Okay, there we are. So there is our beautiful birds. Now let's bring our card back in. So we've got our circle there. I'm going to grab some bumpets. Okay, like that. And I'm going to put this sentiment on here. Just going to go straight across like this. So I am going to cover the bottom of that circle. Okay, and that's there, like that. Isn't this a great layout, you guys? And then our little birdies are gonna come on right like that. Okay, I'm putting some more bumpets. Oh, I gotta be mindful of where I'm putting the bumpets because, oh, I did it right. I didn't want them to be double bumped up on this. So we've got them just like that. Now I do kind of wish, now that I'm seeing this all put together, I'm kind of thinking it would have been nice to leave the orange tones a little lighter than what they are right now. But let me just grab my blender color lifter and let's just see if we can take a bit of that color out. Just lighten it just a wee bit. Sometimes this color lifter and I are really good friends, and other times it doesn't quite go as planned. So we'll see how this turns out tonight. Just lightening it just a slight. Can you see how that's kind of taking some of that? It's almost like it bleaches it. It like just pulls some of that color away. Okay, and if you are trying to use your blender lifter, color lifter, don't put too much on at once because it does sort of tend to work over time. That's the best way I can explain it. Okay, so it's lightening just a bit. So there we have our birds on our just because, and then we're gonna add some bling because every card should have a little bit of bling. And I found these in my stash. They are still current, I believe. These are the rainbow adhesive back dots. And there's so many different colors we could use on here. But I think for this one, this nice, what do you think, purple? Let's use the purple ones on this one. 1, 2, and let's put a third one. I don't know where to put the third one. Up here? Let's just put it up there. It doesn't matter, it's on there. That's what matters, right? It makes it so cute. Okay, so let me know in the comments what you think of the front of that card, and we'll just do a quick inside because we don't want to leave the insides naked. So let's go ahead and stamp just because. What are we going to put on the inside of that one? We could just stamp these birds down here, or we could pull, if I can find the stamp, we could pull another one of these birds, or even just some little hearts. How about some little hearts? That would even be cute. Let me grab my berry burst. Okay, so what I'm so excited to share with you guys is how we're going to take this exact card. We'll just put a few little hearts in here. And I do think I want the birds. I think I want a little bit of the birds stamped in here. We don't have to color them. I won't color them again with you guys here, but you could always come back and color them at a later time. So let me just stamp the birds kind of right here. And you could send this to anybody, right? This could be a great just thinking of you card. Anything. It's just so cute. So there we have the inside. We're going to go ahead and stamp that or adhere that onto our Petunia Pop. I just realized that's where I went wrong, you guys. I went, not wrong, there's no wrong in crafting, but I got Petunia Pop here, and I think it's Fresh Freesia that's in the DSP, but that's okay. It's okay. It's purple, and there's never any mistakes in crafting. Okay, so there we have our beautiful card, and it'll look even prettier when those little birdies are colored on the inside. So there's card number 1. Now I'm going to tuck that over here. We're actually going to take the blends away because we're not going to need the blends for the next card. Instead, we're going to use the ink pads, and that's strictly because of the design of the stamp. It has nothing to do with anything else, but the Share A Milkshake is one that you're going to stamp as opposed to color. So we've got our ink pads here. I don't think we're going to need the black, but let me just see. Like I said, we're going to wing this one. I haven't made this ahead of time. But what I want to share is my theory behind craft from your stash. So if this was a class or a card that you saw that you really wanted to make because you loved it, but you didn't have these sweet little birds and you didn't want to buy them, then what I encourage you to do is to look in your stash and think about what else you want to put here. Now, of course, this design is pretty versatile and a lot of different images could work there. But how I approach it is like this. I don't necessarily think of the fact that these are birds, okay? Because this card would work with anything. What I look at is the shape of the image, the size, kind of the proportion of it. So when I look at this, I see a fairly long image that's tall. I don't want it super wide. I want it to be able to fit on a portion of this circle. And so when I look at that, that's how I go about deciding what I'm going to look for when I go through my collection. So that is how I came up with the Share A Milkshake. Okay. Now there's many ways you could approach it, but that's kind of where I'm going with on this card. So tell me in the comments if that's what you would do too, or if you had a different kind of thought when you looked at this as to what you would use. So I've got a few of these pieces already cut out because I didn't want to have my die cutting machine going while we're here. So I don't know which exactly we're going to use here, but I cut out a lot of pieces like this. Okay. Do I have a cherry already? I think we might want 2. We might want 2 straws. Let's think of that. Okay, let's start with this and see where we go. All right, so Share A Milkshake. For those of you who've never seen this stamp set before, it is an oldie, but there it is right here. It's one of my very, very favorites, and I just absolutely love it. I've made so many cards with it. If you go back on my blog, you'll see tons and tons of options with this one, but that's the card, or the stamp set. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the cup. So I have Petal Pink, Peach Pie, Fresh Freesia, and Berry Burst. I think what we're going to do is take Petal Pink. I'm going to need grid paper for this one. So we're going to take Petal Pink. I'm going to ink this up. And then I'm going to stamp it off. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it off onto my scrap paper because I want this image to be nice and light. Thanks, Glenda. Okay, so there we have a little bit of ink onto that. And then we're going to take the second stamp, the 2-step stamping, which is the details of the cup. And I'm going to do that in Peach Pie. Okay. Now, just to practice, I'm going to just stamp on here so I can kind of see how it's going to line up, what it's going to look like. So it's going to give you that nice contrast. So the colors will work. So I'm going to do this and this. Look at how fun that is. I just love it. Okay, and as those colors dry, you know how it goes. They kind of change a little bit. So we're going to put that off to the side. Now I've got 2 straws. I've got a cherry. I've got some ice cream or foam or whatever it's going to be on the top. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use fresh freesia. And I am going to grab this foam. The colors, you know, they can just, as I said before, we're stamping. They can be anything we want. So now I'm going to stamp this on here. To get a nice light purple on that. So that is going to sit atop our milkshake like this. Okay, this is just going to stay white and it's going to kind of go up there. All right, now we've got Berry Burst. So I want a nice darker shade. Okay, so we'll take this. Now our cherry, where'd our cherry stem go? It's right here. So I'm going to show you a little tip with this one. So I don't want my whole cherry to be Berry Burst. I want the stem to be brown. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Right marker. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up just the cherry, the circle part of the cherry here on the edge of my ink pad like that. Then I'll flip it over and I'm just going to color the stem with my early espresso. Now you can give it a little huff, as they say, so just breathe heavily on it like that. And then we can go ahead and stamp our little cherry here. Hopefully I got that lined up properly. Not bad. Okay, so we've got our cherry. And then for our straws, they do have this cute little stamp that gives you the little strips on the straw. So I'm just going to move that where I can see it, and I'm going to stamp that straw like that. And then I'm going to stamp this one like that. Okay, this is going to be so cute, you guys. I'm so excited for this. Alrighty. I think that's our stamping done. We can always bring it back in if we find more to do. Let's get, oh, they're sticking right to my mat here. All right, so let's do a little bit of assembly. Let me just wipe that off. Get some of that black ink off before it ends up all over our card. Okay, so we're going to assemble our milkshake. So we're going to take this one. Now, if you don't like the edge, see how I die cut that a little wonky? So that's, or stamped it, I guess. The die cutting was already done. We can just come in with our paper snips and just trim that white just a wee bit so it's not as obvious. Or you can just not be fussy and leave it the way it is, because it's totally fine either way. All right, so then that is going to go on top like that. So if I grab a little bit, this is where I do want my white glue, so I hope it's going to play nice. We're going to attach that here, just along the bottom, and I'll show you why. If you have this stamp set, you'll know, because it's got a cute little hidden surprise here. Okay, so that's going to go on here like this. Now our straws are going to go, do you see this little slit that it cut? So we can tuck our straws right in there. Like this. Like, how cute is this? Oh my goodness, I love this stamp set. Now, in order to keep our straws in place, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to grab a bump it and I'm going to tuck it right over top of those, so they're not going anywhere now. Okay, then we can grab our little whipped cream that we're going to put on the top of our milkshake like that. That can go on there. Just like this. Okay. And then our little cherry can go right on top of that. Put our cherry right there. Oh dear, our cherry does not want to stay there. Our cherry wants to go down here with the straws. Maybe it's telling me something. Maybe that's where it should go. No, it's too much berry burst there then. Let's put it back up here. Sorry, cherry, you're going back up there. Okay, so there we have our cute little milkshake, you guys. What do you think? Isn't that adorable? All right, so let's go back to our card. We're gonna reassemble this card, just like we did the front one. So I'm gonna grab my banner punch again. And before you guys go, I'm gonna show you an example of what I mean about a class and swapping things out. So I'm gonna just go ahead and punch that banner again. And then we're going to adhere this on. So same thing, we're gonna keep everything the same, just like we said. Adhesive. Thank you all for taking time out of your Thursday evening to come stamp with me. It's so much fun to have you here. And I hope that you're finding this video helpful and learning a few tips along the way. As I mentioned, I'm very passionate about showing you ways you can craft from your stash when you don't have or don't want to buy any of the newer stuff or whatever the case may be, but it's always nice to use those supplies that we've already invested in. We love them, so let's just keep using them, right? Okay, so there's that. Now for our sentiment on this one, I thought we would use, let me see if it's even gonna fit. Oh yeah, well, see how we're gonna use, oh, you probably can't see that. Okay, we're gonna use Celebrate from the Milkshake stamp, and we're gonna stamp it right on there. So for that, we'll use our Berry Burst again, tie it in, balance those colors. And if you're joining on replay, hello and welcome. Thank you for being here. Leave me a comment. Let me know you're watching. Okay, now we're going to put our snail on there. Or seal. Oh my goodness, I'm dating myself. Snail. That was an old one. Okay, now we're going to take some bumpets. Them on the back there, just like we did on the first one. And again, if you missed the beginning of the video, I will have all of the measurements for this fun layout on my blog on Sunday. So check that out, createwithbirdsnest.ca. It's there on the screen. I want that up here a bit. And Sunday, the blog post goes live at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I forgot to put the circle. Oh my goodness. See, I'm so excited about seeing this card all put together that now I'm forgetting steps. So we'll go ahead, we're going to attach the circle in place. There we go. And now we can attach our little milkshake like this. So for this one, I'm going to put bumpet. So we already have the bumpet there holding our straws in place, but we can also strategically place it up here. So now it's grabbed that cherry with the ice cream, so that's not going to move. We've got another one there to keep the cup in place, and then we'll put one around here. Now for the bottom, I don't want it just flapping, but it's too small for a regular bumpet, so we're going to use a baby one. We'll grab this right here, and we'll put that along the bottom. And then that milkshake can go right on here like this. Okay, and then let's grab our embellishments again. I know they're somewhere here. I just had them. Where did they go? Oh, if only you could see my desk. It looks like a complete crafter mat. And yeah, well, there they are. Okay, so again, we could use many different colors with this one, but I think for this one, we could even get away with using the orange because it's not as dark. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's use these pretty orange ones down here. And then let's put a third one up here by the milkshake over there. Okay, so we got one more step. We got to do the inside of our card. And this one we could do something really fun with because it's just stamping. We have no coloring, right? So it's going to be super quick and easy. So we could even just stamp. What could we stamp in there? You just stamp the top of the... I always just like to do a little something. It's fun to have the inside fancy as well. So let's go ahead and stamp part of the cup here. And then we can take our peach pie, which is over here. I was just going to say, where did it go? The name of the DSP, Jennifer, is Lovely and Beautiful. It's in the... It's one of the newer releases. I think it's either in the mini catalog or it's on the online exclusives. I can't remember. Okay, we'll stamp that on there. And then we can grab our little ice cream. And we can stamp that. So you can stamp this one. I just love this set. It's so fun. I've said that, haven't I? Okay, and then maybe for this one, we're just gonna have the straw. Where's that straw? Coming out right here. There we go. How cute is that? So easy. Love this. Okay, put that off to the side. We'll grab our cardstock. This time, let's go ahead and put the other side. Let's put the light side showing on this one. Remember, we're using that two-tone cardstock. One piece of paper. Essentially, it gives you two colors. It's really awesome. I love it. I love that feature. Okay. Our glue, and we'll put this on the inside of our card. All right, so there we have it. What do you guys think of this version of one card, two ways? Using the same consumables, all we did was change the stamp set. We used the same ink colors, albeit one was blends and one was ink pads, but the colors are the same, so you could easily make a swap like this if you were looking at doing a class. So leave me a comment, let me know which one of these you prefer, and I'd love to know if you learned a new tip today. And if you did, what was that tip that you learned that you're going to take away and give it a try? So I absolutely love how both of these turned out, and I am very surprised that it was so easy to make that very different stamp set work in the same fashion. So there we have it. Now, I want to show you the one I promised I would. This is the card I originally created years ago using the Cactus Cuties. Do you guys remember that one? So again, the DSP is different. Yes, the colors are different, but you get the idea, right? Same kind of thing. This is a tall kind of image. It's sort of the same shape. And again, that's kind of how I choose what I'm going to swap out. So there's that. Now I want to talk about the idea of registering for a class or signing up for a class when you don't have the set. So I have been busy working and crafting in my room, and I haven't done a class in a long time, and I've been thinking about it. I don't know for sure yet if it's going to happen, but I thought, you know what, let's start designing. So I designed a class using the new Woolly Friends. Now this is the card I designed, okay? It's using, you can see all the features on it. It's gorgeous. Isn't it so cute? But then I started to think, because I am passionate about you using what you already have and not having to always buy the exact same products. So in the class, you would likely get the designer series paper and the embellishments. All the cardstock would be cut for you. So what if you didn't have the Woolly Friends? But what if you did decide you really wanted to have those Easter bunnies, or maybe you already do? You could take and make that same card with the Easter bunnies. Do you see how I did that? 3 images, all staggered the same. But there we have a very easy rendition of the Easter Bunny card. Then I went back into my stash and I went into my retired collection. And I thought, what other stamps would work for this? And I pulled in the adorable owls from a few years ago Celebration stamp set. There we have our sweet little owls in the same style of card. It looks slightly different, but you can see how it works. Okay. Then I started thinking, well, what if you don't love cute characters? And what if you just really love florals and you want to make this class using florals? Well, here we go. There's another idea that you could use with florals on the same card, same products used, just swapping out those stamp sets. So there you have it. There's an idea. Now I did this for all 4 cards in the class. I'm only going to show the one with you right now, just in case I do decide to offer this as a class option. But there you have 4 different options for the same card. All right, leave me a comment and let me know what you think of this craft from your stash theory of mine. And if it's helped you at all, look at your craft stash a little differently. So thank you all so, so much for being here. It truly fills my heart to come here every Thursday and stamp with you. And I hope that, like I said, I hope that I've inspired you to look through your stash when you're creating and find something that's worked. And maybe I've given you a different tip about how to look at those stamps and not necessarily, as I mentioned, okay, she used a bird, now I need to use a bird. Don't think of it that way necessarily. Think of it more of like, what would I like to use? Or who am I making this card for? What would they like? Because with a little imagination, you can make almost anything work. So again, thank you so much for being here. I will be back next Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time again for my weekly video. And I hope that you will join me. If you're watching live, thank you so much for spending time with me here tonight. If you're catching the replay, thank you for watching. Leave me a comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I love to read each and every comment that's left on my blog, on my channel. So, Tina loves craft from your stash. Diane loves this idea. I have so much. I have so much too. And truly, that's where this came from. Because I started to look around my room and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many things that I'm not using. And it almost made me feel guilty. Like, I want to start using these. And so I thought, I can't be alone. Can't be the only person thinking this. And so hence Craft from Your Stash was born, because truly I am, I do think it's very, very fun and important to use those stamps and supplies that we've invested in. So I'm very happy that you enjoyed it, and I love to come here and share that with you. All right, well, I'm going to let you get back to your evening. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you back here next week. Cheers.